Zach Wheeler goes down with an injury, having surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome. It's a bummer for the Phillies pitcher, but what that tells me is this is Paul Skeens' award. It probably was Paul Skeens' award before, but he's really good. We know that. Let's talk about some other parts with the Pirates. We've also got a bit of a lull here with the Steelers. They are practicing. Their game is week 1, Jets in, 2 weeks, something like that. I don't like it personally. I wish training camp didn't start when it did. I wish it was maybe a week earlier and there wasn't this lag between the end of the preseason and the start of the regular season. I sort of understand why, but there's just this weird period of nothingness. I guess it gives us an opportunity to delve a little bit into college football, which is going to frame a little bit more of my 2 hours or so with you. I want to get into some Penn State talk. I want to get into some Pitt talk. I want to tell you how I nerd out a little bit with college football. It's kind of like my happy place. We're so hyper-focused and critical, and the pro teams, and they're going through all kinds of different things, and I've got to weigh in and on it. Well, it feels a little bit different with college football, at least for me. I like doing it, so I want to go through some of those storylines. I also want to touch on the Penguins. This has been something I've been on the air the past couple of days, and I've kind of hinted at, talked about it on Friday from Acrisure Stadium as I was at the Pitt football media luncheon. And this sale is going to happen. I am firmly convinced that the Penguins are going to sell to the Hoffman Group of companies. Potentially as early as this week. I think it's going to go down. And I think it's a pretty big thing. We're not talking about it. We're talking about the Pirates. First and foremost, we're talking about the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers and what it looks like for this season and Derek Harmon and this, that, and the other. I get it. Pirates have been a great secondary storyline. Good, bad, indifferent. Certainly some frustration bubbling up, that sort of thing. But I do want to talk some hockey. Yes, hockey. On August 24th, hockey. Because it's interesting. The ice level stuff is not there with the Penguins right now, but above the ice, ownership, implications, what could have been with the Mario Lemieux, Ron Burkle group, I don't think is going to happen, but what does it mean with FSG selling to this Hoffman group? And you probably read a story in the Post-Gazette. Hopefully you read a story in the Post-Gazette this week. Matt Venzel and I were working on it about how far along this is, what people are saying about it. And on Friday, I teased a little bit some of the ripple effects, some stuff that I see down the road that we're going to have to talk about. So I want to get into that with you. College football, Penguins, Steelers, but our jumping off point, I'm going Pirates. I'm going Pirates here because of how well Paul Skeens pitched, how much that takes us into what is basically the primary talking point with the Pirates. Obviously, you're not looking at the standings too much, but you want to look at next year. What can they surround the pitching with? What are they going to do? Can Paul Skeens win some hardware? All of that stuff. So Skeens today, first and foremost, 7 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, 101 pitches. He was really, really good. Some interesting commentary during the game from Bob Walk. They were talking about his different pitch usage and why he's kind of gone away from the splinker because he has other stuff. That fascinates me. Paul Skeens' changeup, like a traditional, the splinker is a bit of a changeup. The actual changeup is a different kind of changeup. I won't get down in the weeds there, but that's been really good. That's something that we've seen out of the Pirates pitching staff as a whole. Carmen Mlodzinski has refined his. Mike Burrows has refined his. Bubba Chandler has a very good one. You've got power arms, but you've also got interesting pitches. Anyway, so Skeens throws really well today, backed up by the bullpen. They get out of there, 4-0 victory. 4th straight win for the Pirates. They've outscored opponents 20-2 during that time. Now 57-74, I believe. 45-48 under Donnie Kelly. Very interesting, by the way, the Pirates lead the major leagues in shutouts and times they've been shut out. So you've seen all kinds. It's been really good. It's been really bad. Paul Skeens, his ERA now down to 2.02 for his career. That's the second lowest in 50 career starts in the live ball era. Vida Blue at 2.01 is the only one better. Paul Skeens is incredible. We have not seen something this good in a long, long time, which unfortunately around here kind of twists the knife just a little bit further, doesn't it? You look at that and you hear those numbers, that type of performance, and it should inspire some level of optimism. It should inspire a hair on fire kind of build, settle for nothing less. We're going to leave no doubt. Look at what we have. Let's take advantage of this window. No, I don't expect the Pirates to sign Paul Skeens to a long-term contract. The business of baseball basically prohibits that. Maybe you could make the argument that they should have done it a long time ago. I'm pretty sure they would have had to have done it like the day he was drafted, if not before, to make that work. I mean, it's just not possible. And that's okay. But you can enjoy the time here. We enjoyed today, right? You enjoyed yesterday. You enjoyed Friday. It was a 3-game series that showed you, and I don't care that the opponent is the Colorado Rockies. That's not the point. These guys are good pitchers regardless of the Colorado Rockies. I don't even care about the final score. They scored a lot of runs, cool. It doesn't change the discussion point with the Pirates right now for me. They have young, exciting arms, things that you look at and say, man, this group can be. How much fun would it be to go watch Bubba Chandler, followed by Braxton Ashcraft, followed by Paul Skeens? That's what you're rolling out there. And let's talk about it. Let's not settle for anything. I went on the rant pregame yesterday as I was filling in for Dan Zangrilli about how we need to see nuance. It's okay to be upset that they've done a bunch of things wrong. This weekend tells me that they're not altogether screwed. And I can't go there. Ashcraft, Chandler, Burrows, Skeens, Oviedo on Wednesday, Mitch Keller, you have to figure out the second half bumps, but you've got more. Hunter Barco's probably going to be up before the end of the year. We're talking about elite arms here. Elite. But it also doesn't eliminate the fact that the Pirates have struggled to score runs for way too long this season. This is not a good offense. It's not a good enough offense. They need to make aggressive moves. They need to make the right moves. In every offseason that Ben Cherington has been in charge, they have failed to do those things. So if I'm a fan, I'm sitting here and looking at it and say, why am I going to believe that anything's different? I've got a bunch of evidence that says, look, if this is where you're itchy, you're incapable of scratching it. Let somebody else try. But I do find it interesting. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I believe this. I'm saying it's something I'm watching. But you got Bubba here. You got Ashcraft here. You got Burrows. You got Skeens. You got these young arms that we're talking about. What happens if the Pirates get hot from now until the end of the regular season? There's not a lot. But it is a fair question, right? Does it make you feel different about Ben Cherington? Would it make you feel different about continuing along the same path? I don't expect to have a big explosive argument there. I think probably about 95% of people would say you need to move on from Cherington and get somebody else in here. And I think I probably agree with that. I also don't see the Pirates, finishing the season at a 20-8 clip or something like that to change fan sentiment. But I do look at this weekend series. I look at the pitching that they got. What if? What if? What if that would happen? What's your number that you say, you know what? If you can fix the offense, there's enough here that's elite. And I ask that with sort of an informed awareness. I'll say it that way. I mean, I've explained that the Pirates aren't having a real good time with this either. I mean, nobody expected this, right? Like, they know there are problems. They know there's frustration. They know the offense isn't good enough. So as I sort of concoct this hypothetical scenario. Say, what's your number? Would you be okay with Cherington staying? Let's throw this on there as well. Let's say Cherington stays, but they do business differently. If Cherington stays and they go out and sign, 2 players for $10 to $15 million, and I'm talking about bats, and just for the heck of it, we'll say it's a third baseman and an outfielder. And then they're going to try to skate by with Jared Triolo at shortstop because he got hot down the stretch. But they're going to spend $25 million on 2 players. Would that change your level of confidence for this team? And it's a bit of a straw man, sure. But I feel like that's the conversation with this team right now. Young pitching, the rotation's good. What does it mean if this continues? They've played better ball. I realize there's an asterisk there. We're out over our skis. I get that. It's the Colorado Rockies. But we know what happens if they stink the rest of the way and all of this crumbles, right? Like, that's a blow it up. You have to go in another direction. We've talked about that. Let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about if magically this somehow holds. If magically this is an indicator of more of what's to come. Braxton Ashcraft has been trending in this direction. Mike Burrows has been trending in this direction. Bubba Chandler is finally here. Paul Skeens shoved. Shoot, at this point, Mitch Keller's the weak link in the rotation. I say that half jokingly. I'm not going to do anything other than let him work through his troubles. But the way Oviedo pitched the last time, the 4 youngsters that I just mentioned, shoot, Carmen Majinski got a start. Maybe you run him back out there. I don't love it. I'd rather see Carmen as a reliever, but this is the time to experiment and see what you have. So again, we've talked about the bad. We know what the bad looks like. If this was an aberration, a 3-game sweep against one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball history, and then the Pirates go lose 14 of their next 15 and get their teeth kicked in, we know what the end result is, right? Or what the end result should be. I want to have a conversation about the other side. And by the way, now, I think people understand this. I'd like to explain it just for 30 seconds, but as a beat writer at the Post-Gazette, I do not write opinion. I did not write opinion, I should say. It's your job to report. You can analyze, but your job is generally to report. That's what Noah Hiles does now. That's what Colin Beasley does now. I am a columnist now. I am paid to give my opinion. I give my opinion on the Pirates a lot. My opinion is that Cherington has not done a good job and should be fired at the end of the season. That is my opinion. It's not personal. It's very much professional. But does that change? I don't think it does. I still look at it too little, too late. I still look at it as if I'm going to base what I want you to do based on what you've done previously, or if I'm going to predict what I want you to do based on what you've done previously, that's not a good situation for the Pirates. They need offensive help. They need a really good offseason. That has not happened. I would trust somebody else to do that. But the reason I brought up the criticism stuff is I've criticized for those things falling short. I'm going to praise where it's warranted. And the praise comes with the pitching that they've built. I love it. Skeens, Ashcraft, Burrows, how they've developed these guys, obviously Chandler, and I like how they brought Chandler up here. I'm probably in the minority. You can throw something at me. That's okay. I don't have any problem saying it. I thought it was smart. I thought it was very smart. I like seeing him around here with his boys, and you can maybe criticize them for not bringing him up in June. That's fine. I don't think it's the end of the world, and I don't think he handled it terribly well. I think you can blame Bubba for how he reacted after that. If he would have kept pitching well for 2 more weeks, he probably would have been up here in June. There's blame to go around. Cherington quote from earlier today got me, and we're going to listen to some Ben Cherington audio a little later in the show, but this is Ben talking. It's no secret that Bubba got off to a great start in AAA and then went through some challenges in AAA the last couple of months. At some point, we got concerned that if we wait for some sort of stretch of perfection, that we might see the clock run out and miss that opportunity. That's a really intelligent way of looking at this. So get him up here, put him in a situation that you can control, put him in a situation that's not going to be detrimental to the team, allow him to build confidence, look at it a different way, and see what happens. What do you know? Closes the game the other night, looks fantastic, builds confidence. Now this bullpen stay could be really short. And you've got him up here. You flip that switch. You start anew. And you let the stuff play. So I'm going to be critical and do my job because that's what I'm paid to do and offer my opinion. And when I disagree with something, I'm going to say it. When I agree with something and I like it, I'm going to say that too. So we've got a couple phone calls. And again, the topic of the conversation I want to have to kick off the show today is what if this goes in a positive direction? What if what we saw this weekend against the Rockies, and I understand worst team in Major League Baseball, one of the worst teams Major League Baseball has ever seen. I'm not trying to overreact to it, but I guess I kind of am. What happens if this holds and the Pirates finish the season with a flourish? Does it make you feel any differently about Ben Cherington and whether he should be allowed to remain on the job and what their chances are of competing in 2026? I have a feeling I know what some of these answers are, but I'm curious to head out to the phone lines and see what you think. Let's go to Kevin in the car, wants to kick us off with this. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Jace, how are you?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Good. Nice little homestand. I was actually there to see Bubba pitch. That was a great night, by the way. Ashcraft to
fantastic.
Bubba.
Fantastic. Perfect.
Really enjoyed it. I'm blaming a lot of what happened in this rebuild over the last 6 years on Nutting and his tight wallet, but I'm sorry. I think Cherington's got to go. I mean, if they finish 19-12, they'll match their win total of 76 from the last 2 years. And that's a pretty good finish if they go 19-12.
Yeah.
So I want to keep. I want to keep Donnie Kelly. I want to keep Gene Lamont right by his side, which he's there all the time.
Yep.
I think that's been very helpful. But I'm sorry to say it. Even if they finish with a flourish like you're talking about, obviously I want them to get somebody who's got credentials and is good. I don't want them just to put some jabroni in there to replace him. But yeah, I think I've had enough of Ben Cherington.
Why is that, Kevin? I don't disagree with you. I mean, you know my opinion. I stated it. Why do you feel that way?
He's too much of a numbers robotic guy. I want somebody that's kind of a little bit more of a sports guy. I don't know. Something about him rubs me the wrong way when I hear his press conferences and his interviews. It just does not resonate with me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the call, Kevin. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't help. I've talked about that before. I don't think there's a connection there. I don't think he speaks to Pittsburghers in a way that they understand. I will say, though, and I have I've been around Ben a lot. I've transcribed a lot of Ben. I've asked Ben a lot of questions. His availability with reporters was among his better performances. He can certainly be meandering and frustrating in that way. I don't think he was that way today. Another example was Jared Triolo, and they were asking him about the work Triolo has done. Entered today hitting .303 in August. Obviously had a big game. We'll talk about that shortly. But Cherington said, feels like he's answering that question, talking about playing shortstop and whether he can. We think he can. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's the shortstop in 2026. It just means that we know more now about that, and it gives us some more options in the offseason as we look to add to the infield. I believe he went on to say we need to add to the infield as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Jared Triolo showing he can play shortstop. I don't understand why that's a negative. I got some sentiment that way on Pirates postgame last night. Like that's a better thing. He can play shortstop. I'm not saying I want him as my opening day shortstop in 2026, but if Jared Triolo is your 26th man, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. He's a great utility guy. Can play anywhere on the field. And the more depth you have at those positions, the better. And if he surprises me over the balance, that's great. I don't have any I'll hear him out. Dennis in the car wants to talk about Cherington. What's up, Dennis?
Hey, Jason. How you doing?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Very interesting point here, and obviously this debate gets kicked around quite a bit in Pittsburgh area, especially this time of year. So here's my thoughts. I started out with the same thing the last guy said because I am 100% believer that it is a nutting issue. Okay, so I always say this. I love people in sports that say, we should get rid of this person. Like you hear that sentiment with Tomlin as well. I always like to say, then who? I heard a quote from Mike Greenberg from ESPN, and he goes, they asked him how he liked Fields, and I'm tying this back to this, but he said, how do you like Justin Fields? He goes, well, we called up Josh Allen, and he didn't want to come to Pittsburgh and wasn't available, or didn't want to come to the Jets, so we'll keep, Justin Fields, and I kind of feel the same way. I think it's all based on opinion, meaning if you believe, like I do, that Cherington had the shackles on him on what kind of deals and how much he can spend, then you probably believe, like I do, that it doesn't matter if me, you, or Cherington is the GM as long as Nutting's the owner. If you believe, like everybody else, that he had like full latitude and autonomy, then you probably wanted to get rid of him yesterday. And that's really all I got to say on the matter. But, yes, I think I'd keep him.
You would keep him at this point, Dennis, or you would keep him with the flourish. Like if they get the 76 wins, let's say that's the end total, you would be okay keeping Ben?
Correct.
Okay.
I would. I think the talent's there, and I believe that it's not him. It's the ownership that puts the shackles on him, whether it's signing somebody in the offseason, whether it's the terrible moves at the trade deadline where, I don't care, the guy did get promoted, I forget his name, but we're getting single-A talent.
Yeah.
And instead of getting guys that are triple-A hitters at least ready to make the leap, or maybe that are blocked, like a better example of Canario where a guy's on another team but he's blocked because they're a real contender, and with some ABs, he'd flourish in another place. That kind of guy.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's a valid point, man. I don't know if I agree with you, but I give you props for supporting the argument, and it's a completely logical premise. Like, I look at some other stuff, too, and this is what rolls around in my head. Like, Donnie Kelly taking over. They've played a cleaner, more fundamentally sound brand of baseball. I like that. Tommy Pham, like, it wasn't Cherington's fault that he had a lousy 2 months. I can't blame that on the general manager. Joey Bart.
He might have been the hottest guy in baseball in June, July time frame, right?
Right. And I mean, it stinks that didn't come at the beginning of the season, but like, that's not the GM's fault. Like, the GM signed him and they're getting production now, and you can see what they were going for.
And he was a down the liner to try and stay within a budget.
Yeah.
And, trying to have a bounce back season. So it's the type of guy that he has to look at. And those are the shackles that I talked to you about.
Yeah. No,
I'll let you go. I shout out to the South Hills.
All right, brother. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I feel a certain way. I stated it at the beginning for a reason. Like, it would take an awful lot to change my mind, because I think what you're trying to do, you haven't been able to do. That is that offense. Let's have a good offseason, and it is more important now than ever. And so I'm going to settle for nothing less than absolute security. If I'm making these decisions, my opinion is I'm going to give somebody else a try. Now, that's with a projected win total. Let's say they come in at 66, 67 wins, something like that. I mean, that's a sizable regression. Now, if they have a sprint to the finish line and finish with 76, 77, 78, that changes the conversation, in my opinion, and I'll bet it changes the conversation for the Pirates as well. Because you can look at it and say, well, what if Tommy Pham would have been good the first couple of months? What if we would have had more money to spend? What if we would have spent that money differently? What if we would have had some of these pitchers up here now who weren't with the club at the beginning of the season? And I don't have any problem not having Bubba up here. You want to take your best five, and he wasn't one of their best five in the spring. I'm okay with that. But all right, so it's a hypothetical argument. Again, if you're just joining us, it's basically, look, we know what happens if the Pirates, or what should happen if the Pirates can't sustain this momentum, right? If it goes down, my opinion is that they need to move on from Ben Cherington. Your opinion is probably that they need to move on from Ben Cherington if they win 66 games or something like that. But if this continues, if you've got a rotation of Paul Skeens, Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, etc., and you see the seeds here, and we have full context, and they finish the season really strong, do you chalk it up to, look, this was the wrong decision with Derek Shelton, this is a pretty good team, we're going to stay the course? Or do you still make the change? Let's go to Harry in Sewickley wants to talk about Cherington in 2026. What's up, Harry?
It's Larry.
Larry, sorry.
No problem. Tough question on Cherington. One thing I would say, I don't think there's a magical number for me. because like the other callers, how much is Bob Nutting and how much is Cherington? I just don't know.
Yep.
What I don't like about Cherington is this. The routine of $15, $18, $20 million on 4 to 5 players.
You're going in and out, Larry.
Two. I'm sorry. I would rather have him go into spending $20 million on 1 or 2 players to
Yes.
get us a decent shortstop, a decent third baseman, or 1 outfielder. If you can get 2 of those 3 fixed for next year, and let's say you keep Triola at shortstop, and that's just a for instance, you take care of 2 problems, and if one of those bats is batting number 3 in your lineup, and one is batting number 5, then you can carry a 200 hitting good defensive shortstop. But this idea of spending $3 million for this individual, 5 for this, and 4 for this, and try to patchwork, I'd rather bring up the young guys and let's go out and get ourselves, easier said than done, I understand. Let's go out and get ourselves a left fielder that can hit 270, 25 home runs, 85 RBIs, and give me a decent third baseman. How about 18 home runs, 70 RBIs, and it might include trading Mitch Keller. Get rid of bringing up a 3.5 or trading for a $3.5 million player. Try to solve 2 of those problem issues. And the other thing is, if McCutchen doesn't come back, you might need 2 outfielders because I would consider moving Brian Reynolds to the DH. Now you're looking for 2 outfielders, not 1.
Good thoughts there, Larry. I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, man. And this is a conversation I've had on the Pirates before and with people. That's been a Cherington MO. I'm going to spend $4 or $5 million on 4 or 5 guys. I'm with you, man. I'd rather see him spend $12 million on somebody, on 2 guys. And honestly, Larry, if they would do what you're saying, if they give me an outfielder for 12, give me a third baseman for 12, and then you want to stick with Jared Triolo at short and bury his bat in the 8 or 9 spot, I'm good with that. I don't have any problem with it if you're going to get me 2 guys, $12 million who provide no question offense.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. And then if for some reason, I doubt he would do it, I think I would be open for Tommy Pham as your 25th player on the roster. I think now Kiner Falefa is an interesting individual. If there's any way of signing him as a utility player.
But they have one of those. That's Triolo. You don't need 2.
I was just saying if they start Triolo at shortstop, that's all.
Yeah, I get you.
You're right. If you go out and get a shortstop and a left fielder, and you don't have a third baseman, that does change the dynamics a little bit. Maybe you keep Triola, maybe you keep Kiner Falefa as your third baseman. He seems to like it there. That's his natural position. And you go out and you get yourself a decent third baseman. I'd rather have a hitting third baseman.
I want a bat. I want a bat at the corners, man. They need a bat. They need a bat at the corners. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate the call, man. I want to get into, as we talk a little bit more Pirates, and I got to get to a break here. Everybody who's called in, please hang on. A lot of calls, a lot of people waiting. This is a good conversation topic, so please hang on. But I do want to get into some things that I want to see the rest of the way. One of them involves who plays first base in addition to Spencer Horwitz. I think that's an important thing to take a look at, talking about power bats at the corners. I'll tell you about that next when we get back. It's a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
HD1 Pittsburgh, an Odyssey sports station. Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Always live and free on the Odyssey app.
BetWire is now live right inside the BetParks app. Think TikTok, but for people who love sports betting more than dance tracks. BetWire is the all-new sports betting live feed with quick videos, hot takes, game predictions, and more from sports betting content creators all across the country. Check out all these new games on the BetParks app. Huff and More Puff, The Flintstones, plus Money Horse. New users get up to $1,000 cash back. See BetParks.com for T's and C's. You must be 21 and in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, or Maryland. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Shop incredible end-of-summer savings at the Scandinavian Designs Labor Day sale. For a limited time, take up to 70% off select modern furniture and decor for every room in your home, including living room, bedroom, dining room, and more. This is the perfect opportunity to get your space prepped for the party season ahead. Stop by your local showroom today or shop online at ScandinavianDesigns.com. Scandinavian Designs. We make it simple, you make it home.
Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Hey, it's Chris Muller. And if you're like me, you like knowing what to expect, especially when it comes to your phone bill. Well, Verizon's got some big news for your peace of mind. For the first time ever, they're locking in low prices for 3 years. That's right, 3 years guaranteed with my plan. That's future you peace of mind. So whether you're already with Verizon or thinking about making the switch, this is for you. Everyone can save on a brand new phone on my plan when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands. Because at Verizon, they've got your back, now and in the future. So go ahead, take one thing off your worry list. Visit your local Verizon store in Pittsburgh and ask about their 3-year price guarantee today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply. Is your business looking for local and national health coverage? If you have more than 50 employees, UPMC Health Plan has something new for you. UPMC National Access. UPMC National Access gives employees access to the top-ranked doctors and hospitals of UPMC, along with nationwide access through the Cigna Healthcare PPO network. For the quality, affordable coverage that your company deserves, locally and nationally, choose UPMC Health Plan.
The John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, scout, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done. You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/Gator XUV.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my God.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just one cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 and monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
We're talking all things Pittsburgh sports all weekend.
You're doing it all weekend, too?
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's hometown sports station.
And welcome back to a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Thanks so much for joining us. Talking a lot of Pirates here to kick off the show in a hypothetical scenario. We love those in radio land. We know how it ends if the Pirates go in the tank and this series turns out to be an aberration, right? Or how we think it's going to end, how everybody probably feels. You want to move on from Ben Cherington, get somebody else in here. At least that's the way I feel about it. I don't think I'm in the minority with that. I want to present the inverse to you, though. This weekend, we saw Bubba Chandler, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, Paul Skeens. The Pirates have a very good young starting rotation. It's exciting. What if that holds? What if they finish this season and Jared Triolo is tremendous? Tommy Pham is tremendous. They have some sort of finishing kick. One caller presented, I think, 19 and 12, something like that, whatever it may be. And you finish the year, and they have that would be a winning record under Donnie Kelly. And you basically say, hey, look, we're almost all the way there. We're going to stick it out with Ben Cherington. Would you be irate with that, or would you be okay with that based on the rotation that was built? Let's go back to the phone lines. Brian in New Brighton wants to talk about Pirates management. What's up, Brian?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I think that how many years has it been now? And they're always selling on hope. They're always selling on the next year. It's always that same MO. It's been that MO I'm 44 years old, and it's been that MO for decades.
Yep.
It's no, because there's no guarantee that they're going to make the right move, because they haven't shown us they're going to make the right moves in the past for that to be sustainable. And yes, I think it does revolve back to Huntington, but when he took the job and moving forward is, what the parameters are going to be from your owner. You have to be successful, and there's no signs that he will show that he's been successful at all since taking the job.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with you, Brian. I mean, if you can look at their trades under Cherington, their even draft picks, like you can get excited about Paul Skeens and Connor Griffin and whatever, and that's certainly gotten better. But I don't think you can say you've gotten enough out of the draft. It has gotten better. I'll give them credit for that. But even when they've gone out and spent money and tried to buy bats, like Tommy Pham at this point is the aberration, or he's the exception rather than the rule, in that he's been a pretty good external addition. There's been too much that hasn't been good. So I agree with you. If this continues to struggle, I'm not gonna move off my mark. And thank you, Brian. Appreciate the call, man. I do feel that that's probably going to be the overriding sentiment that we get, that people still want to see the Pirates do things a different way. But I don't think the group that acknowledges the job that Cherington has done building the pitching staff, I don't think that group is like two people large, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I do think there are people that agree with staying the course with Ben Cherington, agree with the Pirates are close. Like, no, that's not the majority, but people do feel that way. All right, let's go to Cole on Mount Washington. He's pro Cherington. What's up, Cole?
Hey, Jason, how are you? Great show. Always good to hear you on the Fan, and appreciate always reading your columns. I think there might actually only be two people, me and the guy from Maine, that are pro Cherington based on the data I see.
There's more than that. There's more than that.
Yeah. Here's I think what we agree on. The Pirates they've excelled at developing elite pitching, elite young controllable pitching. We also agree that they've done a poor job of developing bats. I think we would agree that it probably is easier to obtain bats in the off season through trades, through free agent signings, if Nutting was to open up the purse strings, than it would be to obtain pitching. So I think the foundation of pitching is what is most difficult and what we have an abundance of. I also, when I just need a second here to kind of make this argument.
You got time.
When I look at the three pro sports teams here in Pittsburgh, and I think to myself, okay, if each team was to add two solid players, in the Pirates' case, obviously it would be bats. If the Penguins were to add two solid players, not superstars, just solid players, same thing with the Steelers, and each of those teams made the playoffs, which of those teams would actually have the chance to go the distance and win it all? And the only team that I can come up with because of the pitching is the Pirates.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Cole. They would be dangerous in a playoff series if they could hit, man.
Exactly. And here we are trying to run the guy out of town. That's my point, is he's the only GM that actually has a team with some additions that could win a world championship.
Yeah, let me provide a counter argument, though. If they've gone 76 wins, the first year they were at 76, I'm with them. That's the right build. But the fact that they stagnated and then won 76 again, and if they don't finish with a flourish and let's say they finish with 67, like how is that a justification for keeping somebody on the job? I understand what you're saying, But it doesn't matter what a playoff series looks like if you only win 67 games.
Yeah, I really don't think they ever looked at this year, last year, the year before as years that they were going to make the push. I do think 26, because of the labor strife on the horizon of 27, I think that 26 are going to go all in. At least I hope so.
Yeah.
In terms of, if they do trade Keller, then they have $30 million available and get a couple bats. But yeah, I think that if they get in, I think it's a very dangerous team.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Thank you, Cole. A very intelligent, thought-out response. I can't. I mean, I disagree with it, but I can't disagree with it if that makes sense. I mean, I understand what he's saying. If the Pirates would get into the playoffs, if they had a league average offense, this is the same tune that I've been singing for a lot of this season and even before that, there's something there. And Ben Cherington has had a very sizable hand in doing that. But at the same time, it's an interesting philosophical crossroads because you are at a critical juncture. There's probably going to be a work stoppage in 2027. 2026 could be our last season for a while. Who knows what you have left of Paul Skeens? Who knows how long you have everything together the way it is? There should be an incredible amount of urgency. And the exact thing that they need to do, this group has not done a good enough job with. Are you going to allow them another swing when they've swung at the piñata several times and they've missed it? I don't know. I mean, I want to see more evidence. We don't have to make a decision now. We can make a decision in the offseason. And if they finish with a finishing kick, maybe we change our minds. That's okay. We can let it play out. That is possible. All right, let's go to Frank in Carrick. Wants to talk about Ben Cherington. What's up, Frank?
Hi, Jason. Long-time listener. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome, man. What's your thought?
Okay. I think Cherington needs to go. I'll give him credit for putting together pitching. You cannot say that he did not do that.
No, he did. Absolutely.
But some of the trades that he made recently, a 28-year-old catcher. Are you serious? I mean, I don't get it.
What do you mean? Who's the 28-year-old catcher?
Who is that? Is that Flores we got from the Yankees?
Is that who you're talking about? Because he's not 28.
Okay, they said that we had a catcher. I forget the player it was. I'm sorry.
I think you're confusing Evan Sisk, the reliever. He's a 28-year-old reliever with the catcher Flores, who's 24.
Okay. Well, now we have a supply stock of catchers. Okay, we got Bart, we got Davis, and we got the young man down there in Indianapolis. Me personally, this offseason, I would like to see a real legit third base bat. We had him back in the day. I seen him in 3 baseball stadiums, Jason. I seen Forbes Field, I seen Three Rivers, and now I seen PNC. So we always had a nice third baseman. I can remember Richie Hebner. He was pretty good. Matt Locke, he was absolutely awesome. I mean, we've had some players at the hot spot that was really, really good. Now it's like we're juggling a lineup to where, we're putting somebody there for one game, putting somebody there for another game. I don't know. I like to see Gonzalez there because I think that wasn't his position in AAA, or was he legit second?
He was more second. He can play over there if he has to. Then who plays second, though, if you move Gonzalez to third?
Ooh. What about Trulio? He seemed like he did pretty good at second.
Yeah. I mean, he's naturally a third baseman, though. I feel like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul here.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want those guys in the lineup, I understand that take, but they'd probably be best situated with Triolo at third and Gonzalez at second and leave well enough alone. Continue.
Okay. Then now we've got Khalifa Kiner. I don't see him being our future short, not at all. I think if we get a fill-in shortstop until Connor is ready, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah.
As far as outfield goes, I like what's his name, Canario. I like him more than I like him better than Pham. Cruz center.
Oh, Frank.
You know
Frank.
What?
Canario over Pham?
Yeah, he's younger.
Oh.
I think he's quicker. From what I've seen of. Maybe if he had a full season out there without being in the lineup, out of the lineup, in the lineup, out of the lineup, maybe he would show the potential that I think that he has. Center field, you can't take Cruz out of there. Left field, we need a legit left fielder too, for sure. Because I'm in agreement with the one fan that says I would put Reynolds in a DH position, but then I think we might end up trading him like we did with Hayes, Ke'Bryan Hayes. For a money thing. I thought the Ke'Bryan Hayes deal was a money dump. That's my opinion. So I mean, I'm hoping that I get to see another World Series before my time is up here. I hope so. Maybe Cherington, will do something in this offseason to save his job. If he don't, then I would say, it's been good and it's been fun, but your time is done. And Jason, God bless you. I thank you for taking my call. Please get home safe to your family, sir. I really appreciate you.
All right, Frank. Thanks, man. Have a good one. I'm taking Tommy Pham. I'm sorry. I'm taking Tommy Pham 100 times out of 100. I was looking as Frank was talking. Tommy Pham's been a two-WAR player this season for a $4 million contract. I've criticized Ben Cherington a lot on WAR obtained versus salary paid, and a lot of times you can call that inefficient spending. Tommy Pham's been an extremely efficient free agent purchase. If you use one WAR equals $8 million, that's a general translation. Tommy Pham's production should cost about $16 million, and the Pirates have paid a quarter of that. I understand that he was not good for 2 months, certainly, but if you look at it sum total, it's actually been a pretty decent acquisition. Let's try to go 2 more calls, and then we got to get to a break. Greg in the car wants to talk about Cherington. What's up, Greg?
Interesting conversation, some pros and cons on Cherington. But from my perspective, I think it's time to terminate him. And one of the things is, what have you done for me lately? And you look at what he did at the trade deadline, I just don't trust him. I don't trust his ability to make evaluations of talent. And he certainly hasn't brought any talent in on the offensive side. And so I think it's time to get rid of him. And another thing, too, is, you're talking about how Pham has played well the last couple months. What took so long for them to analyze what was going on, and he was having problems with his vision, and then they corrected it, and all of a sudden he's hitting like he has been the last couple months? That's not necessarily a Cherington thing, but it's under his regime, so why can't you figure those things out? I just don't trust him. I don't want to go forward with him because, like you're saying, we're on the brink of an important time, and I don't trust him to make those decisions.
Okay. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the call, Greg. I don't really disagree with that. I understand that's a completely logical way of looking at it. I don't have a magical answer for Tommy Pham, man, and I'm not even about to get down in the weeds and try to pretend like I'm a doctor or an eye doctor. I mean, yeah, do I think it's weird that they couldn't figure it out for 2 months? Sure. Tommy Pham also has a complex eye issue. I don't even know the name of it off the top of my head. I would have to Google it, but he's dealt with it quite a bunch. It's given him issues throughout his career. I feel bad for the guy. It's a genuine concern that he has to have. I know I've been in that clubhouse looking at him messing around with his eyes and putting in drops, and he goes through a lot to try to get that fixed. And I think we'd all be a little narrow-minded if we said, "Oh, you didn't correct your medical issue immediately." Look, we've all had medical issues that we've had to take a little bit of time to wrap our head and minds around. Right? I mean, just because they're baseball players, it doesn't mean immediately they're supposed to have this stuff corrected. They did it. They figured it out. Credit to Pham, credit to the Pirates. And, yeah, it would have been great if he would have produced over the first 2 months. And, I mean, you can look at that signing and say, yeah, Mackie, I understand he's got a two-WAR player, but, he didn't help us when we needed it the most. The season was sunk by the time he started producing. I don't care. Look, I get that opinion. I totally get it. And if you don't want to do this again with Cherington because they didn't bring in results when they mattered, or, what we're talking about here and saying, this is the kind of thing that they've not done well throughout this regime's tenure, I totally understand. I'm just not going to fly off the handle or get too upset over them not solving Tommy Pham's vision issues. I think that can be kind of challenging, and I'm just trying to present both sides. I'm trying to give my opinion, trying to give people space to feel a certain way. Like I said before, I think the overriding sentiment is probably that people aren't going to be all that moved by whatever the Pirates do to finish. It's also, we're also sort of talking about this and reacting a little bit, even inherently, to what they did against the Colorado Rockies, and the Colorado Rockies stink. So are they really going to continue this against some of the best teams in Major League Baseball? I doubt it, but it's still an interesting conversation to me to have on a Sunday. Paul in Washington, you're on the Fan. What's up, Paul?
Hey, how you doing today? Hey, I just got a couple of things to say, and I don't think anybody can rebut that, especially a guy in Mount Washington. It's either 9 or 10 years out of the 10 or 11 years he's been a GM, he has a losing record. That's number one. Number two, McBell and the Hawk. I don't know if he tells the manager who to play. He never gave the guy a shot. All he's done since we DFA'd him is produced everywhere he went. We have all these guys in the minors, but we're not giving shots because he relies on his analytics. How about relying on gut instinct and guys that know the game of baseball? The hell with these analytics. I'm tired of this losing. You give up on guys too quick. Where's Peguero been all year? Why are we wasting our time with Triolo?
What?
He blew it with Henry Davis. I mean, give me a friggin' break. I mean, I agree with the other guy. I'd like to see a World Series before I go to wherever the heck I'm going in the end. You have a good day.
All right, Paul. Appreciate it, man. All right. The analytics. That got me. Liover Peguero, since homering 3 times in a game, he's played 12 games, and he's hitting 129. I don't think the Pirates are committing a crime by not allocating everyday at-bats to that. I mean, you can make the argument that maybe you'd like to see him a little bit more. I've argued that they should play Jack Sawinski a lot. Now, his OPS is higher. He's gotten on base. I understand his batting average is not good. I understand his results since hitting 26 home runs in a season a couple of years ago. They've also not been good. But who else do you need to play in the outfield, especially right now with O'Neal Cruz on the concussion IL? In the infield, it's a little bit of a different story. I'm going to play Jared Triolo because he's hitting over 300 in August, and he's getting better. He had a really good series. So if you produce, I'm going to play you. If Liover Peguero was doing that, I was going to play him. I'm not taking Nick Gonzalez out of my lineup. I want Spencer Horwitz there at least if there's a righty on the mound. I might talk about a little bit of a platoon. And by the way, I should pay off that tease. The person I want to see at first base, Joey Bart. I don't understand why they're not taking a look at Joey Bart at first base. They need to find a right-handed hitting complement to Spencer Horwitz, somebody to hit lefties who plays first base. I don't know if Joey Bart can play first base or not, but while we're talking about experimenting with certain things and taking a look, Joey Bart at first base should be one of them. But I do understand the sentiment, man. I do. We're getting all sides of it. I got to get to a final break this hour. We're going to do that now. If you want to weigh in, it's your last chance, 412-928-9370. We're talking about how do you feel about Ben Cherington if this recent hot streak, if this young pitching holds up for the Pirates and they're able to finish the season with some sort of finishing kick. We'll get into all of that and more when we get back. It's Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Now, Fan Headlines, powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
7 Ks across 7 scoreless for Paul Skeens this afternoon as the Pirates were 4-0 winners over the Rockies in a sweep, which they outscored Colorado 18-1. Pirates head to St. Louis beginning tomorrow night. Johan Oviedo against Michael McGreevy. 7:45 first pitch, and our coverage on The Fan begins at 6:50, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh my God!
Buying, selling a home, Gina Petro is where you want to go. She'll sit down with you. You agree on a price and a deadline. If the deadline passes, the home isn't sold. Gina will have it bought and turned into a rental. Call the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home in Pittsburgh, Gina Petro of Remax Select Realty. Call Gina, 724-602-9752. That's 724-602-9752. Google Petro of Remax Select Realty and look up GinaWillSellYourHome.com.
Don't put away your beach gear yet. Summer isn't officially over until September 22nd, so there's time for more seafood dinners, sunsets, and spontaneous second glasses. Stay in your vacation state of mind with wines from Fine Wine and Good Spirits. With $3 off, Martin Kodak's Albarino takes you to the coast of Spain. Franciscan Sauvignon Blanc, now $2 off, brings you to the Monterey beaches. No boarding pass or PTO needed. Find your next getaway in a glass at FWGS.com. Offers end August 31st, 2025. Please enjoy responsibly.
If you've started thinking about what to wear this fall, your timing is perfect because Macy's Fall Preview event has early deals on looks everyone will be wearing. Romantic dresses from BCBG and Avec Les Filles. Western-inspired boots and bags from Steve Madden, all 25% off. Plus, take 15 to 25% off fall beauty from Yves Saint Laurent, Estee Lauder, and Clinique. Don't wait. This fall preview won't be around for long. So come into Macy's today. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
SchultzFord.com. 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 SchultzFord.com.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh my God!
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402. 800-515-4402.
Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills.
And welcome back to a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Thanks so much for the participation this hour. It's been an awesome conversation about the Pirates, the state of the Pirates, what to do with Ben Cherington if this sort of thing continues. We saw all weekend about young pitching elite starting pitching, it looking really good. Yes, I understand it was against the Colorado Rockies. They're not good. But what if this would happen to continue? We have one more call. Let's go out to Abe in West Deer, wants to talk about Ben Cherington. What's up, Abe?
All right, so my question, everyone keeps talking about how our pitching, he builds our pitching up. Now, he wasn't our GM back in the late 2000s, right, when the Dodgers, and I believe it was the Dodgers and Houston in the World Series, and there were 7 pitchers between the two teams that were either starters, closers, or relievers that played for the Pirates within the recent 3 years. What good is that doing us? We breed them and sell them.
I don't understand your question, Abe.
My question is, like, so he's building up a pitching, great pitching staff. What are we doing with it? We did this when we traded Cole. I think it was Cole, Morton, Grilly. Like I said, there was a World Series back in the 2012.
Okay, well, I mean, to be fair, man, like, how are we blaming what the Pirates did in 2012? I don't know what you're talking about. That was the San Francisco Giants.
Wasn't our GM.
Sorry?
He was not our GM at the time, correct?
Correct.
All right, so what are these GMs doing? We're like a breeding ground for pitchers.
Well, yeah. Okay. They've had good young pitchers, and they haven't kept them, and they've made poor decisions. But, I mean, I'm not going to blame Ben Cherington for Tyler Glasnow. I'm not going to blame Ben Cherington for Garrett Cole. That's not fair.
Well, I agree. But my point is, like, everyone's trying to give this guy a break because our pitching staff's so great. So
everyone's not trying to give this guy a break. The majority of people still want the guy out of here, if we're going to be accurate.
All right. Well, I mean, he should be. Like, I mean, I get it. He's got his hands tied with what he can spend and what he can do. I get that. He's not the head boss. But come on, man. Like, at some point, like I don't even know how to explain it. Just,
okay.
I mean, we breed all-stars.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, Abe. Appreciate the call. Here's where I'm going to go with that. That's okay. Like, the Pirates identifying starting pitching, developing it, bringing it up, using it while it benefits them, and if they lose some of it, I don't have a problem with that cycle. I don't have a problem with that cycle whether it's a position player or a pitcher. I mean, that's the way this should work. Like, you're not going to be able to retain every person you go out and find. The problem, and where it's broken down with the Pirates, is they don't maximize the talent that they have. That's Meadows, that's Glasnow. They go somewhere else and flourish. And then, as a result, the trades they make are lopsided. And that has happened with Ben Cherington. If you want to criticize him for not getting enough back for Joe Musgrove, Jameson Taillon, Clay Holmes, go right ahead. I've done it too. It's a fair criticism. They haven't gotten enough back. But, I mean, if you look at the best small market teams, they make trades. They trade guys when they become too expensive. And then they get 3 or 4 prospects back, and they rebuild. I mean, shoot, look at the Milwaukee Brewers right now. You probably can't tell me a lot of their roster because they're no-name guys they've brought up. And yes, they spend more money than the Pirates. I'm not defending any of that. But there is a logical way of doing that. You know, you make a trade, and yes, it's tough to take at the time, and people might get upset that, oh, I can't believe you traded this guy. Well, when they start to make their way up to the major leagues and you see, oh, well, we've got these prospects, and then the farm system's getting better, and they're able to complete that development, they're able to come up to the major league team and contribute, all of a sudden, nobody's that upset about the trade. And then those guys grow up, and then you do the same thing. And that's all about identifying the right talent, developing the right talent, internal improvement. And that's stuff the Pirates have not done a good enough job of. That's a completely fair criticism. I'm not defending them. But I'm saying for that system to play out, that's okay. It's okay if you trade somebody and they become an all-star elsewhere. You should be bringing back 3 or 4 good players. The problem is that the Pirates haven't brought back those 3 or 4 good players. It's actually been like 180 degrees in the opposite direction where they're bringing back Hoy Park and Diego Castillo. And so be mad about that. You should be mad about that. I'm not defending it. So, I mean, for right now, as it pertains to present day. Like, the Pirates have developed, drafted, and some of this has been Cherington, some of it was Huntington. But if you look at their starting rotation, like Paul Skeens, obviously a good selection, obviously good development. We don't really need to talk about that much. They did trade for Johan Oviedo. Oviedo's been good. Okay. They helped Mitch Keller get better. The old regime did not. The new regime got through to Mitch Keller. He's been very effective. Now, the old regime drafted him. We can share some credit. You can also share some blame and point out that Keller in the second half hasn't been good enough. I understand that. Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, those are former regime guys. They drafted them, and then this group developed them and brought them up. Bubba Chandler was entirely this regime. So I don't know where that leaves us, but if all of these guys pitch really well and the Pirates have went out and got starting pitching, that's the hardest thing there is to do. You should be able to draft, develop, sign young, starting pitching, grow it, and then supplement with position players. That's the strategy of a small market team, and you're only going to be able to keep so many of them. The problem is the Pirates haven't found and developed enough of that, at least on the position player side. A lot of these trades they've made, they've been for the Hudson Heads of the world, or you trade Josh Bell for Eddie Yean and Will Crow, or who else? Tucupita Marcano obviously hasn't worked out. You can say Jack Sawinski to this point hasn't worked out or has been disappointing. I certainly get that perspective. It's just things have broken down there. All right, we're going to take our final break of this hour. When we come back, I want to talk about some things with the Pirates that I want to see the rest of the way. I teased Joey Bart playing first base, but there's a couple more things to that discussion. Then I want to transition over to football a little bit and kind of assess what we've seen about the Steelers so far in training camp, preseason, now that preseason games are wrapping up, or they've wrapped up for the Steelers, I should say, and sort of setting the stage, waiting for this game against the Jets to kick things off. I wish it was tomorrow. It is not. But we'll talk about the state of the Steelers and what concerns us, what we feel better about, and basically all of the intel that we've been able to glean over the past couple of weeks, as this is kind of a natural reset in the schedule. It's a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey. You're listening to Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
7 strikeouts across 7 scoreless for Paul Skeens this afternoon as the Pirates were 4-0 winners in a sweep over the Colorado Rockies. They outscored Colorado 18-1 across the series. Pirates have won 4 in a row and take on the Cardinals Monday night in St. Louis at 7:45, right here on The Fan with coverage at 6:50, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel. Johan Oviedo takes on Michael McGreevy. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Get the latest on Pittsburgh sports from anywhere with the Odyssey app. Listen to shows and Pirate games live. Check out our exclusive interviews and content anytime. Download the Odyssey app now and never miss a minute. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. HD1 Pittsburgh, an Odyssey sports station. Live from the ShoreKeyMitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. Always live and free on the Odyssey app. 93.7 The Fan.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Bob's had the same car, Betty, since high school, and that was a while ago. Bob's dealt with wipers, slow starts, and a few warning lights. And every time, Bob went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped with free services and the right parts to keep Bob and Betty on the road. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
All right, here we go. It's hot. It really is. Colin Dunlap here to tell you all about Schultz Ford, and when it's hot, they got things going on. They got things going on all the time, but the summer sales event right now, it's spectacular. Listen to this. $399 and $499 lease specials, 0 money down, 0 payment for 90 days, and 0% interest. That's just fantastic. You know what else is? All the inventory. Over 1,500 new Fords on the lot right now. Check them out. Or you can go to SchultzFord.com and check them out. All the great locations. Schultz Ford Wexford, Schultz Ford Harmer, Schultz Ford South in West Mifflin. Got that great store down in Wheeling, too. So get there. The selection, the service, the way you're dealt with, none of it will be beat. I can promise you that. Oh, and don't forget about that mobile service. That's spectacular. They'll come right to your house, do whatever's needed right there, and bring your car back. All the great locations, and as always, SchultzFord.com.
Red 42, hike! We're kicking off the big drive sales event at Spitzer Toyota Monroeville. Rush in and save big on Tundras and Tacomas with one of the largest hybrid truck inventories in Western PA. Every play comes with a no-charge lifetime powertrain warranty. And you can score even more when you download the Spitzer VIP app for exclusive rewards. This is one summer drive you don't want to miss.
Whack more. Spend less at Spitzer Toyota Monroeville.
Our world revolves around you. See dealer for details. Ends 8/31/2025.
Feeling lucky? Your next big jackpot is waiting for you. Visit the casino at Nemacolin in Farmington, PA for the ultimate casino experience with 26 table games, daily promotions, big-time giveaways, and 500 slots, including over 100 of the hottest new games. After, celebrate your big win with a juicy burger at the Royale while you watch the big game. Hotel packages available. Visit CasinoNemacolin.com for more information. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Santel Landscape and Design, serving the West and South Hills area for over 30 years with custom landscaping, patios, retaining walls, and hardscaping. Whether you need to replace an existing retaining wall, have a dream for a new patio with a fire pit, or are tired of the look of your landscaping, they have affordable solutions for you. You'll be the envy of the neighborhood with a new outdoor living area from the experts at Santel Landscape and Design. Santel Landscape has an A+ rating with a BBB and is fully insured. Visit SantelLandscapeandDesign.com.
Doran Dickerson here with an exciting announcement for my guys at Keystone Custom Apparel. A huge promotional offer this month for you to take advantage of for your organization, group, charity, or sports team. If you buy 4 dozen or more t-shirts, you can get them for just $6.95. That's an incredible deal from an incredible company that's located right here in Western Pennsylvania. Keystone Custom Apparel. Take advantage of this offer. Tell them Score and Doran sent you, and visit KeystoneCustomApparel.com today.
Long live the king.
Return to the magic and mystique of the Renaissance. The Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival, just southeast of Pittsburgh, is back. This weekend, August 23rd and 24th, is opening weekend. Pick up a 2-for-1 coupon at any participating Cohen markets and redeem it at the festival box office. Buy one adult ticket to get one free. This weekend only at the Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival. Go to PittsburghRenFest.com.
Text us on the Edgar Snyder and Associates text line at 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. Your hometown building partner since 1956, 84 Lumber. Visit 84lumber.com. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
All right, Joel Nelson for Fan Headlines. Paul Skeens this afternoon, 7 strikeouts across 7 scoreless in his 50th career start. Pirates 4-0 winners over the Rockies. They sweep them and outscore Colorado 18-1. Monday night, Pirates Cardinals in St. Louis at 7:45. 6:50 is the North Shore Tavern leadoff show with Dan Zangrilli. Johan Oviedo takes on Michael McGreevy. More headlines at 937thefan.com. Right now it's hour number 2 with Jason Mackey.
Live from the Shorkey Mitsubishi.com studios, North Huntington and North Hills. 93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
And welcome back to a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Hopefully you're enjoying this beautiful Sunday. Talking about the Pirates after a victory over the Colorado Rockies, a series sweep. The Pirates looked really, really good. Asterisk attached, though. The Rockies are not very good. Either way, a lot to feel good about. Our discussion in the first hour centered around what the Pirates should do with Ben Cherington if this recent hot streak continues. And I think a lot of the opinions were still of the mind that they should move on from Cherington. But we did hear from a couple people, and I think it's fair to point out all the good that Cherington has done in building the pitching staff. We're also still evaluating a lot of things between now and the end of the regular season, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to be looking for between now and that time. There's a list of things. I'm going to go through them one by one. I teased one of them already. I would like to see Joey Bart at first base. I don't know if it's going to happen. He's taken some grounders there, but I think it's important to give Henry Davis some runway, learn what you have behind the plate. I know what Joey Bart can do behind the plate, and defensively he is challenged. We'll say it that way. I think they need a right-handed hitting complement to Spencer Horwitz at first base. Can Joey Bart be that guy? I don't know. Joey Bart has produced offensively. He's been very good after the All-Star break. I want to see whether he can play first base. If it's horrendous, oh well. At least I know. If it's passable, that's great. If there's a bat, then I may have solved the problem for the offseason. I don't know. Maybe I don't worry as much about spending money on first base. Maybe I redirect my money to third base or redirect my money to the outfield or shortstop or something like that. But I'd like to learn, and I don't know at this point whether Bart can play first base. Another thing I'd like to see, while I think they have some playing time they wouldn't mind being a little bit more free with, is Jack Sawinski worth anything? I don't know. And any time I bring this up, people tend to get upset because you get frustrated. Jack Sawinski's batting average stinks. I understand it. If you look at his OPS in August, it's better. He's getting on base. I'm not saying it's enough that I'm going to see this and think Jack Sawinski's my opening day right fielder or center fielder or anything like that. But I want to take a look. There's no harm now in looking at it. I think the worst thing that the Pirates can do with Jack Sawinski is go into the offseason and have there be some ambiguity there. I want to see them clear that up. If he's terrible with consistent playing time, then you know what? You move on. It's probably not going to happen here. You've given him every opportunity. And I certainly understand people who say, hey, they've already given him a lot of opportunities he hasn't produced. But it's my list, and that's my opinion. Andrew McCutchen is a third one I'm looking at, and I want to see how Andrew finishes the year. Talked to him early last week about things. I wanted to sort of circle back after his comments about got to pay to play. He didn't want to talk about that. He ended up talking about the dimensions of PNC Park and wanting to see the outfield fence moved in and cut the grass different, some other kind of off-the-wall thoughts. I don't think we're going to see that, but I do want to see Andrew McCutchen produce. If he's going to come back, we need a different version of Andrew McCutchen. Like Andrew McCutchen with a 750 OPS and giving you some power, that makes sense. Especially if we're talking about the Pirates needing more offense, I get it. But Andrew McCutchen, until this past series, really hadn't done a lot. Now, he's got really good numbers against the Rockies over the last little while, so it's not out of nowhere, or it's not out of the blue, I should say. But can Kutch continue this? He talked about this a little bit with us and wanting to prove that he's part of a winner, wanting to prove that, he has something left in the tank and sort of having a strong finish to set himself up for free agency. So I'm going to be paying attention to that. The fourth thing is Jared Triolo. We talked a little bit about that in previous segments. Jared Triolo has looked excellent at shortstop. I like his defense there. I have no problem with it. Again, I have no problem with Jared Triolo being on the roster. If he's your 26th guy and he's bouncing around and he's a utility guy and he's a bench guy and you can just kind of plug and play him certain places, cool. Does that continue? I don't know. We've seen him tease before. A couple years ago, he finished really strong and then the bat petered out. So I want them to play Jared Triolo. I think they will. I want them to play him at short. The defense is solid, but can you hit? The other thing, Mitch Keller, and that's number 5. How does Mitch Keller finish the season? His second half struggles have been well documented. He seems to be going through it a little bit again this season. I believe he is starting early in the St. Louis series. Yeah, it's going to be Oviedo, Keller, and then TBA for the Pirates. And it's time that Mitch Keller gets things back to first half Mitch Keller, really, for a couple reasons. I mean, one, you want to see him pitch well and be a part of this thing. At least I do. And two, if they need to make a move strategically to move out some money to bring in a bat, something like that, the Pirates need to be cognizant of Mitch Keller's trade value. He's an important piece of doing that. And if you are showing 3 straight years of performance that dies out in the second half, other teams have to account for that. Other teams watch him too. So you want to see him finish the season strong. And right now, I look at their rotation: Skeens, Chandler, Oviedo, Ashcraft, Burrows. You might look at Hunter Barco. You might look at Thomas Harrington, whatever. Are you okay trading Mitch Keller? I might be, based on return. And the return is only going to be high if Mitch Keller pitches well the rest of the year. If he gets shelled, then that return could diminish. So it's an important part with the Pirates. And the last thing is getting Hunter Barco here. It was very exciting to see Bubba Chandler up here. Long overdue, you could argue. I know there was a perfectly reasonable argument to bring him up after May. The Pirates didn't. He's here now. Anyway, next man up is probably Hunter Barco. He's pitched really well with AAA Indianapolis. And I have a feeling we'll see him before the season is out. That's another arm that you can add to this group, and we can feel certain ways about their starting rotation. So that's my list for Pirates stuff that I want to see the rest of the year. Joel Nelson, producing. Joel, anything you are targeting the rest of the year with the Pirates?
I like the idea of a platoon at first base. I kind of want to see Spencer Horwitz get more starts against lefties, and he'll get like if they're facing a lefty on a Sunday, then maybe we see that platoon. Again, third base, like the corner infielders, those have to be big time, not exactly power hitters, but even if, let's say, the Pirates had a Matt Chapman at third base, he's probably with San Francisco next year, of course, but a caliber like that, I would think. I kind of wonder if they're going to, outside of Hunter Barco, if they're going to continue the trend of a veteran left-handed pitcher in the seat to start, on a one-year deal. Heaney, Anderson, Quintana, that sort of deal. I'm curious if they'll continue with that to have at least one lefty in the rotation in case Hunter Barco isn't with the team for the start of 26.
Joel, I think I'd rather see them spend that money on bullpen arms this year.
I like that.
I'm good on a starter, man. Let these guys go, start games. If you're going to spend money on pitching, I'm not against spending on pitching. I'd rather see them spend it on relief pitching this year.
So something along the lines of, I'd have to take a look, but maybe not to the extent of what the Dodgers gave Tanner Scott, but big money, something like that. I mean, we don't really know who the closer is going to be next year.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it's probably Dennis Santana, though, right?
As of now, it would seem like that, yes.
I mean, one guy I look at, he could be a future closer, but I don't think he's an immediate closer, is Jared Jones.
I think so, too.
I like that for him. I like the attitude. It's just you're not going to have him. Like, he's just not going to be ready the start of the year. So, I mean, I'm fine with Dennis there. I like Nicholas. I like Matson. I like Majinski. They've got the makings of a pretty good bullpen, but they need a lefty out there. They might need two lefties out there if you want to go lefty, righty, whatever. But I want them to spend some free agent money out there. All right, so that does it for our Pirates talk. Why don't we hit a break? That'll be a nice transition. We'll do that, and we'll come back, and we'll talk a little bit of Steelers. I'm excited to assess camp. I haven't really had a chance to do it. It's been a lot of Pirates on these shows. Before we do that, though, I do want to remind you the fan text line is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates, a personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you. And fan Twitter, it's brought to you by South Hills Kia in Peters Township. You can visit them at southhillskia.net. So, again, there's a bit of a lag between now and the Steelers' first regular season game. Preseason games are over. I'll be over at Steelers, I think, tomorrow morning. They practice, going to go make the rounds there and see what I can learn. Excited to do that. But we've learned some, not a ton. I wouldn't say we have a great handle on this team, but I want to wade through a little bit of what I've learned about Aaron Rodgers, about the wide receivers, the running game, the quarterback situation writ large, some of the contract holdouts, defensive line, defensive depth, I think is an important thing to mention, although there's still a bunch of question marks on both sides of the ball. I'll talk about all that and next. All things Steelers coming up on a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Pirates on Monday night set to take on the St. Louis Cardinals at 7:45, where it's Johan Oviedo against his former ball club, and he'll take on Michael McGreevy. 6:50 hour coverage on 93.7 The Fan, and that's presented by Keystone Custom Apparel as the Pirates aim for their 5th win in a row. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Pony and Muller here. Mike and Mike's Beer Bar is a big fan of us. In fact, he gave us our own beer. Okay, well, kind of. Each month, Mike picks a local beer that we call the Fan Beer of the Month. The Fan Beer of the Month for August is Hitchhiker Brewing's Bane of Existence, a New England IPA. And the charity is Breakthrough T1D, the leading global organization funding type 1 diabetes.
And if you don't like the Fan Beer of the Month, or you just don't like us, Mike has 4 other beers on tap that you can select, and he will make a donation to the charity. Check out the Fan Beer of the Month at Mike's Beer Bar.
Meet me at Mike's.
Do Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keep coming back? Tremfya, guselkumab, may help, with rapid remission achieved at 12 weeks and lasting clinical remission at 1 year. Some even saw visible improvement of their intestinal lining at 12 weeks and 1 year. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Healing is possible with Tremfya. Approximately 3 out of 10 patients were in endoscopic remission at 1 year, based on areas visualized on colonoscopy, which may not represent the deeper bowel layer or entire GI tract. Individual results may vary. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
It may be goodbye summer, but it's hello deals here at Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And this bow tie does not lie. New Ram 1500s, take up to $15,000 off MSRP. New Jeep Gladiators, now up to $7,500 off MSRP. All with up to 125% of KBB for your trade. Winning team, customer driven, world-class facility. Last chance to make this the summer event. Visit us next to Washington Crown Center or at crownjeep.com. See dealer for details on all offers.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my God. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. If you or anyone in your family has been injured in a car accident, call us now, as the time to file a claim may be limited. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before, protecting America, fighting for you. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Shorkey Mitsubishi has hot deals that'll be gone in a flash. Check them out. 0% financing for 60 months is back on the 7-passenger Outlander. Or choose the brand new Mirage, already the lowest priced new car on the market. Now take up to $2,000 off MSRP. All backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, 2 years of prepaid maintenance, and $500 more for your trade. Locations in North Huntington and the North Hills, or online at shorkeymitsubishi.com. Savings include all applicable factory rebates and dealer discounts. Financing with approved credit. See dealer for complete details on all offers.
Family owned and operated since 1975, Mount Pleasant Window and Remodeling has been Southwestern PA's trusted destination for all their home improvement needs. With an A+ rating from the BBB and multiple awards in home remodeling, they stand out as one of the area's GAF Master Elite contractors. Call 724-547-5445 or visit mountpleasantwindow.com. Proudly partnered with Central Westmoreland Habitat for Humanity for their community buyback program. And for the month of July, Mount Pleasant Windows is offering 10% off of all roofing jobs.
93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
And welcome into a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Thanks so much for finding us. A lot of baseball talk early on in the show. Excited to transition over to the Steelers. It's almost that time. It's almost that time. I love this time of year. Temperatures hopefully will be dropping a little bit this week. Football will be in the air. We had college football on TV yesterday, game from Ireland, and a couple other ones. It will start in earnest a week from yesterday. Pitt opens its season with Duquesne at Acrisure Stadium. First time those two meeting since 1939. And then the following week, we will have the NFL is back, and I cannot wait. I'm sure you were in that same boat. And so let's talk about the Steelers. Let's talk about where things stand with the Steelers, how much we've learned throughout the preseason. I don't know if we've learned a lot or a little. We've had some concerns addressed. I still have concerns about the offense. But I'm going to start at probably the most obvious place, and that's Aaron Rodgers. I know when the Steelers signed Aaron Rodgers, even while they were courting him, I had doubts. I wrote as much. I said as much. Talked about him being washed up and really doubting whether Aaron Rodgers would be bought in, why they were doing this. As I kind of reflect on all of that and where things stand now, I'm not sure I feel that same way. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is washed up. Now, he's still 41, so he might be injury prone, or if he takes a hard hit, it's not going to be the same as somebody who's 23 taking a hard hit. I get that. But I've watched Rodgers practice a handful of times. I've watched him play in games. I've been around the team. Not as much as a beat guy, but I do get down there a decent amount. It's cool to see how invested he is in all this. That doesn't automatically translate. I get that. But the dude can still sling it. And you see why Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I like what they're doing offensively. What Arthur Smith has crafted in terms of an offense, a game plan, the back and forth that exists. It's a very big departure from Russell Wilson. And when I reflect more and think about where the Steelers were at last season, I kind of think, what the heck were they thinking? You're really going to have Russell Wilson dropping back, holding on to the ball for that long, throwing these moon balls? It seems a little reckless. The offensive line sort of showed itself late in the season. They're not asking these guys to do that same thing. That's one reason I feel differently about Aaron Rodgers and what the Steelers are doing. What they're doing is exactly what they should be doing under Aaron Rodgers, and they're taking advantage of his talents. The ball's coming out faster. They're basically scheming guys open, and you're giving Aaron Rodgers total control over the offense, and he's able to offer feedback and reads he's able to make, and you're taking advantage of what he does well. So that's been a positive for me, seeing that develop. On the flip side, the running game has left a lot to be desired. Jaylen Warren only played in the third and final preseason game. I think he had 2 carries. He fumbled, looked tentative, hitting some of the holes. I'm not saying Jaylen Warren's going to be benched. I fully expect him to be the RB1 against the Jets. But I could feel better about the running game than I do right now. That's for sure. Caleb Johnson had a stretch in the home preseason game where he looked like you'd kind of expect him to. Other than that, not great. Didn't love the way he finished against the Panthers. His first game of the preseason was not very good. Very much looked like a rookie getting his first action. I think it's fair to say it's a question mark. I don't know what they're going to do behind Jaylen Warren. I'm fine with Kenneth Gainwell, but he's never really been a feature back. He's a depth guy, might be a third down type of back. So maybe you give the ball to Caleb Johnson in early downs, I'm not sure. So that's probably an arrow pointed down for me. If we look at wide receiver, this is kind of an incomplete. If we're thinking of the Steelers like a report card, I don't think they're done. They can't be done, right? DK Metcalf, yes. Yes. He's been fantastic as advertised. I have zero questions there. It's about everything else. As of right now, and Calvin Austin, I believe we found out it's an abdominal injury. He's practicing. That certainly is trending in the direction of him playing against the Jets. I'm going to go ahead and assume that he does. But right now, their top 4 is DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, and Scotty Miller. I'm sorry, I don't like that. That's 3 guys with basically the same skill set. Those are 3 guys that you have to scheme open or find very specific things for them to get open. One guy who can be open anywhere, DK Metcalf. I'd like to see kind of a hybrid number 2 there. Because in a perfect world, yes, it'd be great if all of those guys stayed healthy and they were productive and they looked the way they did in the preseason, this, that, and the other. We know that's not going to happen. It never does. I don't think Robert Woods was brought here with that intention, but this group can't be complete. They have to have somebody else to guard against injury. And I'm sorry, it can't be Ben Skowronek. I like Skowronek in special teams stuff, absolutely. And he probably makes the team at receiver. But I'd like to see them, I realize this would result in them carrying 6 receivers, which would have other roster implications, but I don't care. I would like to see more depth. That concerns me. The quarterback situation, moving on to number 3 here, that's been an interesting thing to follow throughout training camp. Now, obviously, no questions about Aaron Rodgers being the number 1. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, Skylar Thompson. It changed the calculus for me. Before Will Howard's hand injury, I think there was very little questioning whether it was going to be Aaron Rodgers, Mason Rudolph, Will Howard. Right now, with as well as Skylar Thompson has played, he's changed that pecking order. It's very easy to put Will Howard on IR, keep Skylar Thompson as your number 3, keep Mason as your backup. And probably the TBD on our report card here is what happens if another team is interested in either Mason Rudolph or Skylar Thompson. If some team calls you up based on what Skylar Thompson has done, don't you have to have that conversation? I feel like you do. Dude completed 73% of his passes in the preseason for 4 touchdowns and 498 yards. That's pretty good. Will Howard, if he starts on IR, I'm fine. He wouldn't have played those games anyway. I don't want to lose him. I'm not going to try to sneak him through the practice squad. I don't think that's going to happen. By the way, I heard Ray Fittipaldo on The Fan bring this up, and I'll be honest, I didn't even realize this was impossible, but you can't take somebody and take them right to the practice squad. There should be a different rule, and this is what Ray suggested for quarterbacks. You should be able to stash them there. But everybody has to be exposed to waivers, and that would be a tough one for Will Howard. There's been a lot of chatter about the defensive line, some of it good, some of it bad. I don't know how I feel about it in totality. Derek Harmon looked really good. His knee injury worries me a little bit. We're talking about missing at least 1 game. I'm not totally sure on the math, or I'm not totally sure how, they're saying 4 to 6 weeks for Derek Harmon, but he's only going to miss 1 game. I don't know how that works. I guess I understand not putting him on IR because they do think it's going to be on the short end of that. I get that. I don't want to lose Harmon for that long if I don't have to. So you're going to take a risk. I also like what I've seen from Y.A. Black. Big body dude, moves a little bit, can get up. He's exactly what they've needed in the defensive line rotation. Right now, he might be your starting nose at this point. If you play Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward, more on Hayward shortly, play them on the outside, there's your front 3. And I think I'd be okay with that, although I wish I could feel a little bit better about the defensive line depth. Didn't get much from DeMarvin Leal. I'm not sure how he makes the roster. Isaiah Loudermilk has been okay. Daniel Aquale, they'll be there. I do have some questions whether they're going to be heavily productive, and obviously that was an area that plagued the Steelers a lot last season. My 6th takeaway is how much we still don't know. The secondary especially, they played 1 series against the Panthers. And we're talking about a new guy in Darius Slay, a new guy in Jalen Ramsey, where Jalen Ramsey plays, a new guy in Juan Thornhill, Chuck Clark, if he makes the team and plays, he's a new guy. You've got some continuity with Joey Porter Jr. and Deshaun Elliott, but you've got a lot of new faces in new places. You want to see them play. And that extends over to the offensive side of the ball, too, where you really didn't see Aaron Rodgers get to do anything meaningful with DK Metcalf or Jonnu Smith because it's the preseason, because of injuries. I feel like we have spent, a month now analyzing so much stuff about the Steelers, talking about them a bunch, in my case, writing about them a lot, but I don't know if we know a whole lot more than what we did previously. Oh, and the last one is just sort of a curiosity, and I think we're starting to get our answers here, defensive line-wise. Is Cam Hayward back? He practiced in pads recently, It almost feels like the Chris Boswell situation, where Boswell just out of nowhere winds up kicking against the Buccaneers. I think it was the Bucs, or maybe it was the Panthers. Just winds up in a preseason game, no fanfare. I still don't think he's talked about it. Just like, hey, that whole like unhappy about the contract thing, like just pretend that didn't happen. That's fine. But anyway, it's probably how it should end. If they move some money around, cool. I don't have any problem with that, but I don't want to see them break precedent and do a whole nother contract with either one, and I don't think they will. I think moving around money is probably the best you're going to do. Some stuff between now and then that we can watch for. Calvin Austin's one. Want to watch some offensive line depth? I know that's not an exciting topic, but that's a concern for me. How deep they are up front. They're going to need it. Calvin Anderson, Ryan McCollum, Dylan Cook, whether those guys improve. I think if we poke holes in the Steelers and what they have, and I've liked what I've seen from Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu with tackle. That's been a major storyline. I've seen nothing that really, causes any sort of alarm bells to go off for me. But if somebody gets hurt, they're not a terribly deep group up there. It's been fun, though. It's been so fun to have this stuff back. I love it. I love talking about it. Just when the summer winds down and you get football back, it's just the perfect amount of time. So we got Steelers starting up soon. We have Pitt starting up August 31st, Saturday. I think it's the 31st. Might be the 30th. I don't know. I stink at dates. Yeah, it's the 30th. Pitt Duquesne on the 30th. I never know what day it is. I never know what the numbers are. But I know they play next Saturday at Acrisure Stadium because I'll be there. Looking forward to that. Actually want to talk a little college football to finish out the show. Joel and I are going to kick around a few storylines. Also going to get into Penguins ownership and my thoughts on that. I've been reporting on that for the Post-Gazette, and I know some things, and I have some thoughts on where this goes, what happens if a deal is consummated. Again, as somebody who's been chasing the story, I don't expect this to last for too much longer. I'll explain why when we get back. It's a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey here on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Every Saturday morning from 9 to 11, tune in for Bucko Talk. Host Donnie Baseball talks all things Pirates and gets you your Buccos weekly rundown. Bucko Talk is presented by Mike Camlin Hyundai of Greensburg and brought to you by Allegiant Community Federal Credit Union and Tri-State Office Furniture. Bucko Talk on Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Now, fan headlines powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
7 strikeouts for 7 scoreless for Paul Skeens in his 50th career start as the Pirates were 4-0 winners over the Colorado Rockies in a sweep, and they outscore Colorado 18-1 in the series. Pirates have won 4 in a row and head to St. Louis for Monday night, 7:45 first pitch right here on The Fan. Coverage at 6:50, presented by Keystone Custom Apparel, where Johan Oviedo takes on Michael McGreevy. For more, go to 937thefan.com. Fan headlines are powered by Bowser Genesis of Monroeville.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. The Odyssey app lets you jump back in time to the moments you missed on The Fan. Whether it's the Fan Morning Show, the Joe Starkey Show, or the PM Team, you can get caught up on all of it. When you're listening to The Fan, it's as simple as one click to listen on demand. Miss a great moment, great guest, we've got you covered. Download the free Odyssey app, search 93.7 The Fan, and tap earlier today to get started. It's the perfect way to catch up on what's happening from Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Guys, I really need your back-to-school lists.
Sorry, I need a Bluetooth speaker.
Me too.
Open Mac.bid. That's a bargain. Is that it?
I think I need a laptop.
Same.
Oh, there's no way I find that. Oh, thank you, Mac.bid.
Knocking out back-to-school shopping lists from your couch while saving up to 80% off retail prices can only happen at Mac.bid.
And some organizers and stuff.
Me too, and a backpack.
Done and done, and way under budget.
Ease into the school year at Mac.bid and on the free app.
Pittsburgh. Are you ready to relive the magic? Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen, is taking the stage at Rivers Casino on Friday, September 19th. Experience the look, the power, and all the legendary hits all in one place. From Bohemian Rhapsody to Another One Bites the Dust, you'll be dancing all night long. Visit riverscasino.com for tickets. And don't miss Almost Queen, a tribute to Queen live. We'll see you there.
Got plumbing problems? Call the pros who've been going down the drain since 1969. A Quick Drain Service. Serving the entire tri-state area, they offer expert plumbing, sewer and drain cleaning, plus DOT certified gas, water, and sewer line installation. Senior and military discounts available. And get a lifetime guarantee on all sewer and water lines. Need help now? They're available 24/7 at aquickdrain.com. PA license 074216. A Quick Drain Service. Fast, reliable, done right.
I had to do something when my headaches were making my entire life a headache. My PCP was so good about it. We talked about my routines, like all the coffee I'm drinking and all the sleeping I'm not doing. We ruled some things out, and I made some changes. So far, fewer headaches. So good. My PCP specializes in me.
Find a PCP near you and connect to a network of nationally recognized care at upmc.com/PCP.
93.7 The Fan is cleared by aquickdrain.com.
And welcome back to a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey. Thank you so much for finding us. One final segment of our time together. I want to tell you first, the Fan will showcase a different community each Saturday through the Youth Football Showcase with a special visit from members of the Fan staff. Do you want 93.7 The Fan to visit your game? Email youthsports@937thefan.com with your group name, your group's main contact information, and potential dates. Details at 937thefan.com. That's brought to you by Steel City Shredding and Saloni's Italian Bread. Joel, I've got a confession to make. Something that happens this time of year, and I'm a little late to the game with this one. I don't know if you do this. I know Noah Hiles does. We've joked about it. When college football starts, I have to buy a preview magazine. Do you buy like the Athlon Sports actual magazine? Have you ever done that?
I have not, but I can understand why people do, especially like, all of us who are soaked into baseball season, and there we go. Would you look at that? How about
on
that?
On the YouTube stream.
Got it right
Pulling
there.
It out of my bag.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, if I was super heavily invested into the college football season, then, maybe I would. I mean, outside of Penn State, of course.
Yeah.
I might. I'm so soaked into baseball that, it would make sense for me to get the magazine. If I was more of a college football fan, I might, but I have not.
So you said your college football fandom has kind of waned? You've just
Maybe
been
just the slightest.
Busy with other stuff.
I'd say so. I'm just more soaked into baseball.
Okay.
That's what it is.
That's fair. That's fair. And I don't know, the past couple of years, I've never been a huge college football guy before, like the past 3 or 4 years. Something bit me. I mean, I'd follow Pitt and Penn State.
Sure.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like everything else. And now, I don't know, something happened, man. It's just like, it's fun land for me. Everything else has to be so serious, but I don't need to really care about a lot of national college football. I mean, if there's something that maybe rises to that level, but I don't know. I just like it. So I like buying the magazine. I like going through and reading as much as I can. If I'm going to, it helps me with, if I'm going to sit down and watch a random game about two teams that I know a little about, but not a lot about.
Sure.
I can sort of get my legs under me and learn more about it. And that, I'll do a scouting report on a game that's on ESPN, so I feel like I know a little bit about these teams. And it's nice. It's a nice resource. So good job. Good job, Athlon Sports. Anybody else who produces a yearly college football magazine.
And I tell you what else. I know maybe you'll be covering some Pitt games this year.
Oh, I will, buddy. Absolutely. And Penn State.
Get a couple facts and notes and stats and all that sort of stuff from any of their opponents for the season.
That's right. Oh, dude, that's a given. Any Pitt-Penn State opponent before I'm going to watch that game and take it in, I will use that as a scouting report. No doubt. I love it. All right, so we got a lot in this final segment here. I want to get to some Penguins ownership thoughts. We'll talk a little college football, but I do want to go out to the phone lines. And Dennis has been waiting, and Jim in Center has been waiting. Dennis in Cheswick wants to talk about Bob Nutting. What's going on, Dennis?
Hey, Jace, you're a gentleman. You're a gentleman's gentleman. That's all I can say.
Thanks, man. Check's in the mail.
When's it coming?
A long time from now. What's on your mind?
Hey, we're in trouble here. We're in trouble with this Bob Nutting. I'm 72. I just turned 72 August 12th. I go back to Bill Mazeroski and Gene Alley and them guys, Gene Freeze, Don Clendenin back in the 60s. Bob Nutting got a brain disease. That cheapness and that greed, it just gets worse over the years. He's going to continue to get worse, if you can understand that. It just gets worse and worse. It's a brain disease. The more money he makes, the more he wants. He's not going to spend. They got a decent pitching. I'll say that. I'll give them that much credit. Good pitching. But you need hitters. They can't compete with the big guys. This team needs so much, it's depressing. And he's not the guy to do it.
This team needs so much, it's depressing? Really, Dennis?
You know what? How can they go up against the Dodgers, the Yankees? They look like a Sandlot team out there. And
you're okay. All right, you're crossing some wires here, but I understand the feeling of frustration.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not trying to invalidate your feelings, but I don't know, need so much that it's depressing. I'm not sure I'm going there. I look at their rotation, and I think it's pretty darn good.
Great. Yeah, it's great. First line pitching, major league pitching.
They need to go at offense, and Bob Nutting needs to show that with spending some money.
He won't do that. It just gets worse and worse with this greed and cheapness.
Yeah, I mean,
you need $100 million. You need $120 million payroll.
Well, that's where I was going. I'd like to see them go to at least $100 million, preferably more. If you got to $100 million in 2016, which they did, why should they not be able to get to $120 million now when you've got Paul Skeens and you're close?
It's a shame. They got the credentials. They got the pitching. They need hitters, and I think McCutcheon. Now the guy's a great guy. He's trying his best. Everybody's trying to do their best, but I think it's time for the bailout. I think it's time for him to bail out. I think you got to get new blood in there. You got to get some good hitters, major league hitters, and one more thing, two more things. Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
I don't know who's worse. I don't know who's worse, Bob Nutting or Mike Tomlin.
All right.
And then the last thing, Jace, that quarterback. We can't lose that quarterback. What's his name? Thompson?
You tell me,
Skylar
Dennis.
Thompson? Huh?
Yeah, it's Skylar Thompson.
We can't lose him.
They're not going to.
You think he'll make a team?
Yeah, I do. I think Will Howard will start on IR.
If he comes back, Will Howard, does that mean he's going to move off of Skylar Thompson?
What does that mean? I don't understand what you're saying.
I mean, they'll dump Skylar Thompson to get a roster move.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Well, we need him bad.
All right. Thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. I can move on, man. Yeah, I don't know if I agreed with everything there. I mean, I understand the frustration geared toward Bob Nutting and the Pirates. I certainly do. But to say it's hopeless, that there's nothing there, I mean, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. If anything, it might make people more mad that you have this starting pitching staff and you want to see them do something. All right. What should we do, Joel? Phone calls or our talk? All right. Jim in Center. We said we were going out to Jim in Center. What's going on, Jim? What's on your mind?
Hey, boss. Jason, thanks for taking my call.
Yep.
Hey, I got two things. I called earlier in the segment. I'm doing my side gig, putting the kids, moved them into University of Kentucky this week. But
oh, nice.
For the Pirates, they need to be truthful with themselves. That front office needs to identify what they're good at and what they're not good at. And what they're not good at is developing position players. So go buy them. Go buy them like the great Bill Belichick did, not to switch sports, but he identified that he was not good at getting good secondary players in and developing them. So what did he do? He went out, he purchased those in free agency.
Yep.
That is a luxury afforded to you. And as for the Steelers, you said it earlier, the wide receiver room is a wash to me. I think the Jalen Ramsey thing and Minka, also another wash. I don't know that, we put new parts on a broken airplane, but we still have the same two lame pilots flying this aircraft. I don't know that it gets any better, brother. So I'll hang up and listen to your response.
Yeah, we'll see. Thanks, man. Appreciate the call. That is something I can't get past the Steelers. I mean, think about what they're doing at wide receiver. This is why I want to see them add somebody. They swapped out George Pickens for DK Metcalf, and that's an upgrade. Absolutely. I'm good with that move. But it's almost like they're trying to hope that you don't notice or something that, like, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, and Scotty Miller were on the team last year when they were deficient with wide receivers. I don't know how I'm supposed to believe that it's going to be, everything's great now. I'll go with you that, like, Calvin Austin did some good things last year. Roman Wilson has some potential and has looked good in the preseason. So has Scotty Miller. It's also the preseason. I don't think that's enough to suddenly say, oh, everything's all better. It's going to be great now. Now, if you give me DK Metcalf, a clear upgrade at wide receiver 2, and then those 3, okay, I see that. I'll go with you there. But that's about the end of it. All right, I do want to talk some Penguins here, and this ended up getting short shrift, and it happened the other day too, but I will try to make it quick because I'm going to get to a break in about 5 minutes here, and our time together will end. But what I want to tell you is to be on the lookout for this to happen this week. I do think there's a non-zero chance of it. I think it's pretty far down the road, and what I'm talking about is Fenway Sports Group selling the Penguins to the Hoffman family of companies. Will it change anything? I don't know. But this is a very significant storyline with the Penguins. It's a very significant purchase price, $1.75 billion. And it's now going to be 2 ownership groups removed from Mario Lemieux and Ron Burkle. And I think there's going to be a lot of attention on this for that reason, for several reasons, for how FSG was intertwined with NESN and the Penguins RSN situation, even stuff as simple as like the land development rights in the old Civic Arena site. Those are up in October, and they really didn't do anything with them, and I'll be curious if this purchase goes through. And again, this isn't probably the most important thing for sports fans. You're going to be worried about what's on the ice, and I will get there in a second, but that does impact the Penguins in the area surrounding PPG Paints Arena. Does this group want involved? Does it not? As far as the on-the-ice stuff, do the Penguins continue to go in this direction? I don't know. Do they keep Kyle Dubas? Probably, but we don't know. These are the type of questions that you end up asking. FSG was on board with the plan to kind of slowly rebuild. You're not going to try to spend your way out of problems, that sort of thing. If the Penguins wanted to try to spend their way out of problems, if they wanted to get aggressive, and let's say FSG said, look, we need to have a winning product on the ice this season. We need to try to make a little bit of money. This is our first time in here, and I know it's not for FSG. I'm saying for the Hoffman family of companies. If they say, look, this is our first time owning an NHL team, we want a good product on the ice. We don't want some rebuilding, piece of junk that isn't going to make money or that's going to get laughed at. Do they change directions? I don't know. It's just questions that I wonder. What does Sidney Crosby think about all this? Is he on board with it? Does he like it? Does he not want to go through another ownership change? Sid being Sid, it's probably not a huge deal in his world. If they're going to spend to the cap, if they're going to give the Penguins the resources, if they're going to show an aptitude or a desire to get this done, I'm sure Sidney Crosby is going to be fine with that. But it's still something I wonder. What's the relationship like with Mario Lemieux? There was an issue with Mario and FSG, right? Well, if you remove FSG, isn't that like play number 1 or play number 2 or something in the playbook of things an ownership group in Pittsburgh could and should do? Get Mario involved. Make him feel welcome. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So that's something I think about too. The TV deal, it's an important revenue stream in the NHL. I know this is not on the ice, so fans might not care. But like NESN is an FSG company. They were the ones running Sportsnet Pittsburgh. How does that change? Does it continue to happen? Does the Hoffman family of companies, do they have any desire to do things differently? Do they want to do that themselves? Probably not. Maybe they just end up paying NESN. Anyway, you want to keep that money flowing in. There's just a pretty substantial conversation to have. I wish we had a little bit more time to have it, but just something to pay attention to this week. I have a feeling it's not going to be the last time that we talk about it. Fan weather, it's brought to you by Myers Law Group, Pittsburgh's choice for affordable legal solutions. Temperatures in the 60s overnight, sunny skies and temperatures in the 70s on Monday in Pittsburgh, as well as St. Louis for Pirates Cardinals. Kind of bummed I'm not going to get down there. St. Louis is one of my favorite road cities. Loved that when I was on the baseball beat. I always took a bunch of heat for it, but I will miss that when Colin Beasley's going there for the Post-Gazette, and then they go to Boston after that. Joel, what are you most excited to see? This is going to be the briefest college football conversation in the world. Pitt or Penn State, give me one thing that you're excited to see about both these schools.
Eli Holstein returning for the Panthers, I would say, and Cade Bell before, maybe he'll take another job somewhere else if Pitt can have an excellent season. Yeah, Eli Holstein and what we're going to see from him returning to the Panthers, and then Penn State, really the whole core group of Aller and Singleton and everybody else, all the rest of the band that they brought back for this year, and if they can finally get over the hump.
I'm going Des Reed for Pitt. I think he's going to be one of the best players in the country. I think he's going to get a ton of attention. If he stays on the field, man, I think he's going to have an electric season. And for Penn State, I'm going defense. I'll go the opposite side of the ball. Jim Knowles coming in here from Ohio State. I think they're going to be really good. They're really fast. They lost Abdul Carter. I mean, it's going to be a loss, but I don't think it's going to crush them. I think Penn State could have the best defense in the country. That does it for our show. It's been a Sunday afternoon with Jason Mackey. Thanks so much to Joel Nelson producing. Signing off, you're listening to Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan. Get the latest on Pittsburgh sports from anywhere with the Odyssey app. Listen to shows and Pirate Games live. Check out our exclusive interviews and content anytime. Download the Odyssey app now and never miss a minute. Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your